Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Coronavirus pandemic has challenged us in many ways. And one of the challenges that we're currently facing is the funeral rites, the burial of Muslim deceased. We believe every life is precious, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from the infection as well as transmission of coronavirus. Muslims treat their deceased with love, care, and dignity. We have various rites which we perform before we bury our loved ones. Those rituals or funeral rites include washing the deceased, giving them ghusl, then putting a shroud, a kafan, and then doing the Namaz-e-Janaza, and then burying them. These are the four things that we go through. Now, all of these four things have been challenged by COVID-19 and the importance of self-isolation so that the transmission of COVID can be stemmed. In terms of performing ghusl, there are four options that are available to us, and they're all sanctioned by our faith Islam. The first is performing a full ghusl of a person that's died due to COVID-19. Different local authorities as well as the local NHS organizations are providing slightly different advice at the moment. So I'm going to speak generally in terms of what Muslims can do, the options that are available to us. So firstly, now the general knowledge is that the virus COVID-19 has spread amongst the living so much that the chances of transmitting the virus from the deceased is lower than from living being. So as a result, the various local authorities and NHS England has allowed people to be washed, people to be given ghusl, as long as one takes precautionary measures, like one of them being wearing PPE, which is personal protective equipment. And that includes apron as well as a full suit and also glasses, a particular kind of dress that you have to wear before you can perform ghusl. So as long as the sealed bag that you receive does not say do not open, you can perform ghusl, and then you put the kafan, and then you place it in the thick plastic seal bag and seal it, and then obviously we'll move on to the janaza afterwards. That's the first option. Now, in some cases where there is so let me be clear, as long as the personal protective equipment is available and you have not been told specifically not to wash the deceased person, you can perform ghusl. The second option is the minimal ghusl, which is effectively that you cannot wash the whole body, but you can perform. You wipe the body. You can wash certain parts, to making sure that effectively is clean. The third is that if the PPE is not available, and the chances of catching and the catching a virus as well as the transmission of virus, if the chances are high, then it's important that the living living beings are protected, and dignity and health and well-being of the living person takes precedence over the dignity of the deceased. The third option is tayammum, which is like if you cannot wash the body, then you perform tayammum, and that's a separate discussion. Then the final option is that actually you're wiping over the plastic bag in which you receive the body. And obviously in that case you cannot put shroud on, you cannot put kafan on, the kafan option is only available in the first instance. Now there are some local authorities that are not allowing one to perform ghusl, and we have to comply with the instructions that we receive. So we need to make sure that Islamically you are allowed to do any of these options, because the deceased from the COVID infection is considered as a shaheed, a martyr, and you don't have to perform ghusl. So you can take comfort in the fact that loved ones have passed away in a much greater status than perhaps they would have done otherwise, and they are that they're departing from this world may be made easier by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we can pray for them. So that's the various options that are available. The second thing I wanted to point out, that even if you can perform a ghusl, no one has stopped you, but if the PPE equipment, personal protective equipment, is not available, and as a result there's high chance of the COVID-19 being transmitted to Ghusal, those who are performing Ghusl, then it's important that we do not wash the dead body, the deceased. Now here, I just want to make a point that effectively in all of our cities, there are perhaps 2 or 3 Muslim funeral services. Now we need volunteers, we need people. There are lots of people who've studied the fiqh of performing ghusl. We need young people, fit people. Usually it tend to be our elderly who tend to do the washing, or the funeral directors. Now you can imagine, they're going to be inundated. The current projections are. So as a result, we need people who are trained, as well as people who know the Islamic aspect of performing ghusl. And also we need to invest and find out whether personal private equipment, PE, are available, and ensure that our funeral services and funeral directors have plenty of them. And for that we need to liaise with our local authorities as well as NHS England, and try to find out that we are prepared for what we're going to face in the coming days and weeks. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise the status of those who have passed away due to COVID-19, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all and help us to do the right thing in the right manner, so that we can gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.